Things are picking up. August 7, 1942, the Marines land on Guadalcanal while the Carlson Raiders defeat the Japanese forces on Macon Island. The tide of battle begins to turn in 1943. Battles are difficult. Losses are heavy. We see some of the little flags in the windows around the country that had blue stars are now having gold stars. Numbers have changed and gotten names. More sinkings of Japanese ships in the Pacific. Admiral Yamamoto, the supreme commander of the Japanese Navy, is shot down in the Pacific. John, hello. Oh, there he is. John, can you tell us just a few words about your raids on the oil fields in Romania, the largest oil reserve in Europe?
I have my hat on. This is my hat for my bomber crew in the B-24 called the Wolf Wagon. If you can hear them and see them, there's 10 of them, including me. That makes sense.
Okay.
The battles of the Ploesti oil fields is what we're mentioning here. How many remember that during your sojourn with history as the papers unfold? Good. I'm glad to see a few hands go up. It's the greatest bombardment ever made in our history of a single target over and over and over again, in this case to liquidate the oil fields of Romania. Without the oil, Mr. Hitler was a done duck. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
That is a done duck, yeah.
And it was our job over a year's period to eliminate the target, that is, get rid of the oil as for Mr. Hitler. And so I thought I'd wear the battle jacket here just to give you
That's new, isn't it?
Well, it was at one time. And
you can still get in it, can't you?
I saw my compatriot sitting over there with a real uniform sitting on.
Yeah, I see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's got what division is that from the airborne division?
I think it's 1st Airborne, 101st Airborne.
Yeah.
101st Airborne.
Right.
101st Airborne, right.
How about that? Good eyes, huh? Okay. Thank you, John. The North African campaign ends as well as fighting in the Aleutians. Mussolini is dethroned and Italy finally surrenders. November 28 to December 2, Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin meet in Tehran to begin planning a strategy for the invasion of Western Europe. And now, Dan will tell you the story about Lily Marlene.
Yeah, how many are familiar with Lily Marlene? Yeah. This gentleman out front was in the European Theater of Operation at the time that this occurred. But sometime, in every war there have been these very humanitarian, humane kind of things that happen where enemy would rescue an enemy or help an enemy because they're just people who have human feelings. And this was a case, this also, by the way, happened in the Civil War. The troops, the German lines and the Allied lines were fairly close to one another, at least close enough so that they could hear voices and they could hear people singing. Well, the Germans were singing an old folk song called Lily Marlene. It was a part of a regiment, if I'm not mistaken. And when you listen to the words, it could be anybody, any soldier, talking about their feelings of any place in the world. Well, the Allies, especially the Americans and the British, liked this tune quite well, and they started singing with the Germans across the lines. And then when the troops would go home on separation or leave or retirement, whatever, they would carry the song with them. When it got to America, some of the promoters and publishers heard the song, and they heard it enough, they decided to get it published, and it became one of the hits on the hit parade. We're going to do a different rendition of it. This one is kind of taken from a recording that Mel Torme and George Shearing made, and if you're ever looking for a wonderful jazz recording of tunes during World War II, that's the CD to get. And this is Dina Vermette and Woody and the trio on Lily Marlene.
And I will dedicate this to you, Harry, since you were there. underneath the lamppost by the barricade, standing all alone. Every night you'll see her wait. She waits for a boy who walked away, and though he's gone, she hears him say, oh, promise you'll be true. Fare thee well, Lily Marlene. Underneath the lamppost by the barricade, standing all alone, every night you'll see her wait. For this is a place a vow was made, and breezes sing their serenade. Oh, promise you'll be true. Fare thee well, Lily Lovely, Woody. Woody Woodward. So nice. And trio.